Most people realize the power and influence doesn't have much of anything to do with the truth. What I did was write a short story called Chasing an Echo, which tried to envision a way to put into art the irregular situation that had surrounded me, largely as a result of the politics of the art of Genesis and King Crimson in Pittsburgh. I thought that given how much I loved them, they might see what was going on and help to work it out. Instead, they moved to legitimize a game and narrative of murder ball as chess and set me up to blame for it simply for getting on with things when they rejected me. And I'm supposed to stand for this because everyone knows how petty politics are in the United States, especially on the local level of feudal gangsters. And it's this arena that the Ukraine crisis comes crashing down on, as though something constructive is going on towards resolving the criminal insanity of our doctors of learning and perpetuating this nightmare by being forced to choose sides between the domino theorists in Russia and France. No matter how disappointed I may be in Russia, they never spoke out against what was done to me. They never lobbied for the arrest of Gail Burstyn. It looked like cahooters. Nor can I see the point of the French circle who called defeat in eastern Ukraine of Ukraine in occupation by Russia dominoes without looking at the flip side, the way NATO's irregular expansion into the Ukraine would look like dominoes to Russia. And this French guy, he goes, it Putin's a bad chess player. The last time I heard the expression bad chess was Mark Lieberman. And sure enough, Bernie Sanders is on the job in my Twitter account, perspirating to the effect that I look at porno. Who the hell are these gangsters? They've been trying to frame me for the death of Mark Lieberman ever since it happened. I was miles and miles away from it. I even ran a writing campaign for district attorney because they refused to bring the issue up. Carnegie Mellon University, I said, was having on campus gladiator sports with death outcome regarding their students. Now, I see the situation as mongering by the inside circle of the leapfrog oligarchs who are covering for COVID-19, which was a kiss off from Queen Elizabeth, and the horrible gangsterism of the AIDS attack. by mongering a you choose which side or that side slavery to the martial mentality using the Ukraine parameter. And it plays out locally all the time. They're trying to story this into new local murders and vindicate themselves by saying, nah, nah, and you're not Africa, you're not Africa. I'm a prisoner of a bizarre war game, being mongered by sportsmen on high who know how the hell it works and absolutely refuse to defend me based on what my letter said. And then they come out and say, if you're a defense party, you can only lose. Look at how I ended up on the defense. They invited me to a law school, told me I couldn't go. When I went to politely cancel, they arrested me for trespassing. And they had even said, you can stay on campus so long as you don't bother anybody else. Politely canceling isn't bothering anybody else. And they refused. They called me. Resisting arrest when I asked politely for her name because she was witnessing this, and now I'm having tremors, and they won't leave me alone. And they're threatening, to escalate murders of them. What are they going to say? That it's Putin doing it? It's not Putin doing it. It's Trumpy Toon Putinese. They just want to throw shadows out and say, we'll evaluate the psychology of the hostage, of the defense, of the accused, by seeing how he processes suspicion. What loyalties are exposed and the way that he processes suspicion. You can read my letter for itself. You can read Chasing an Echo for yourself, and you can see my behavior for yourself. These murderers tortured me and wouldn't let me go to school. They kidnapped, gassed, and brutally tortured me. Was it because I was susceptible to higher learning about? Was it because I believed that if we had said 100 years ago they're not all bad about Russia, we'd be in a better circumstance today? Is that why they tortured me as a child? And it's an albatross to say, oh, John Schulman wasn't Israeli. Wattenmaker wasn't Israeli. This doesn't have anything to do with Israelis. They used, by Bernie Sanders' own defense, Joseph Goebbels is champion of Leslie Katz. It's in Will Zell's defense. They get the killers from this local recovery situation in Seattle, murdering bystanders so they can say, let's look at the psychology of the queer mate's processing suspicion. Because it's a chess game over the processing of suspicion. It has no business masquerading as any form of leadership. We do need leadership. God help us. We have these Trumpy Toon Putinese sadists doing anything they want to anybody who's remotely struggling to be credible. And we'll hear there's soon to be another ice age and virginity proves rape any day now.